was a typical Saturday. Daddy worked half a day. Mama went grocery shopping. My brothers went out with their friends. My sister worked the day shift at the phone company. Other Mama was in the kitchen, and our beloved dog Tuffy, half chow, half collie, was lying on the front porch. Although it was only 10 a.m., the sun was beating down on the small town of Quicksand. It would be another sizzling hot summer day. I was 8 years old and curled up on a rocker in the living room watching TV. My favorite Saturday morning program was Smilin' Ed's Gang. I loved Froggy the Gremlin, who would plunk his magic twanger and appear in a puff of smoke just in time to heckle whatever visiting professor had come to give a lecture. Midnight the Cat on the piano and Squeaky the Mouse on the harmonica were performing Three Blind Mice when I heard a loud blast just outside the living room window and a sharp, pitiful cry. I jumped up in time to see a green pickup truck slowly driving past. On the back was a tarp, and sticking out from under it was the barrel of a shotgun. I ran to the kitchen and out the back door with other Mama chasing after me, screaming for me to stop. Under the noonday sun, the blood splattered across the front porch on the gleaming white clapboards was blinding. "Tuffy!" I screamed. A trail of blood led down the steps, and other Mama and I followed it. The trail led to the backyard and the sheet metal structure that Daddy built, Tuffy's doghouse. Mrs. Moody was the town gossip. Other Mamas said she took too many goody powders. On her visits, she always bragged about her only child, Nelson, while eating a slice of whatever pie other Mama had made. According to Mrs. Moody, her son Nelson was the best at everything he did, but no one ever knew what that was. Nelson attended Quicksand High School and was younger than my sister Rosebud. Everyone knew he had a crush on her. Quite a few young men in Quicksand had a crush on Rosebud. Nelson asked her for a date, but she politely turned him down. Looking back, we believe her rejection made Nelson angry. Tuffy gave birth to a litter of puppies. When Mrs. Moody came to visit one day, she walked past Tuffy's doghouse and Tuffy growled. Mrs. Moody said she feared Tuffy would jump out and bite her. Mama and other Mama laughed and reassured Mrs. Moody that Tuffy was guarding her puppies and wouldn't hurt anyone. But evidently, Mrs. Moody complained to her son Nelson about the incident. His mother's complaint, in addition to Rosebud's rejection, pushed Nelson over the edge, leading to his decision to kill Tuffy. I couldn't see who was driving, but I recognized Nelson's green truck. As other Mama and I neared Tuffy's doghouse, we could hear her whimpering. Despite her pain, she was inside nursing her puppies. Just then, Mama returned with the groceries. She called Daddy at work and told him to come home quickly. Mama, other Mama, and I stayed with Tuffy until he arrived. We coaxed her out of the doghouse with a ham biscuit. Tuffy loved ham biscuits. Then Daddy picked her up in his arms and put her in the back seat of his car to take her to the vet. In the meantime, Rosebud called. She always called home on her break at the phone company. Mama told her what happened, and Rosebud began to sob. She begged Mama to call the vet and ask him to do everything possible to save Tuffy, regardless of the cost. She would pay for it. When Mama called, the vet said he wasn't sure if Tuffy was still alive. When your husband brought Tuffy in, he gave us instructions to put her down. Then he left. I heard Mama gasp and ask, was she? Well, Miss Bradshaw, she's out there on the pile of other animals to be hauled to the crematorium. But let me check. I'll see if she's still breathing. It seemed to take him forever. But he returned with good news. Tuffy was weak, but alive. Please, do all you can to save her, Dr. McCorkle, Mama told him, regardless of the cost. She has 9 3-week-old puppies. They need her. Dr. McCorkle said he couldn't be sure she'd survive because her side had been filled with buckshot that would have to be burned out. But he assured Mama he would do his best. He also said, any person who would shoot a nursing mother should be put in jail. We all found it hard to believe that Daddy told the vet to put Tuffy down. He didn't even ask if anything could be done to save Tuffy's life. This made us all angry. I didn't understand. Daddy always petted Tuffy when she came over to him. I thought he loved her. He left her to die. How could Daddy be so cruel, I wondered. Tuffy was a member of our family. Later that afternoon, we received a call from Dr. McCorkle. The operation was successful, he said. Tuffy will be okay, but she needs to remain here for the following week. I was so happy she survived that I jumped up and down until Mama ordered me to stop. I begged Mama not to tell Daddy that Tuffy had been saved because I didn't think he deserved to know. She promised not to tell and swore everyone else to secrecy. That week, my brother Ben and I took turns feeding the puppies. We fed them milk from baby bottles. After 6 days, we were told a member of Dr. McCorkle's staff would bring Tuffy home. All the fur on Tuffy's right side had been shaved off, and she looked thinner but beautiful. After eating 2 ham biscuits, Tuffy ran to her doghouse and began nursing her puppies. Daddy arrives from work every day around 5:30 p.m. He sits in his chair and reads the paper until Mama calls, "Supper's ready." As he lights his pipe that day and settles in to read the paper, we sneak Tuffy in through the back door. My brother Ben and I wait patiently as Tuffy pads her way into the living room. She always greets Daddy by sticking her nose under his newspaper, forcing him to put it down and pet her. This day was no different. "Oh, what the hell? Who is this? Whoa, what's going on?" Daddy chuckles nervously. Mama explains to him that Rosebud told the vet to save Tuffy. Daddy does not respond, but continues to pet Tuffy, scratching her back and patting her head. As far as I know, he never spoke about the shooting incident again or Tuffy's survival. Rosebud called Nelson moody and told him off. Of course, he denied that he shot Tuffy. She let Nelson know if he ever tried to harm Tuffy again, she would contact the police. The police should have been already contacted, but Mama insisted it was best to let it go. She was afraid of confrontations. She was also afraid of Daddy, but that's another story. If, as they say, human behavior is driven by genetics, environmental factors, and one's thoughts and feelings, those that drove my daddy must have been lacking in what every child needs to achieve a healthy sense of self and empathy for others. But despite that, Daddy was happy to see Tuffy.